Welcome to Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering. We are playing over the internet every Wednesday and Friday, and Brian in a Rug Midrange build versus Josh on Blue-Red Delver. I don't think we really know what the best build of Delver is at this point. We've seen everything from Mono Blue, Blue-Red, Rug, Bug, Grixis, you name it, Esper, Blue-White. I mean, you can really build a lot of different types of Delver strategies. Thought Scour, card I haven't seen for quite some time. I mean, I think the last time I sleeved that up in Legacy was during the Jeskai Ascendancy deck, the 3-mana enchantment that would let you untap a permanent whenever you played an instant or sorcery, so you could play a 1 blue cantrip to untap like a Fate Stitcher or a Fairy Conclave, just kind of having an engine really comboing off. A Force of Will revealed to Delver of Secrets, and that is an ominous thing when you're looking to drag someone into the deep end of the pool. However, Brian does have some removal for this Delver of Secrets. Young Pyromancer, and that's potentially a much larger threat in this type of matchup, as it can create just a huge amount of value in a legitimate clock, and very difficult to overcome. Lightning Bolt thrown at that, though he does know Josh has a Force of Will. Only 3 cards left for Brian. And we've got a Force. So establishing his board presence. He lost the Delver and 3 damage a turn to a Bolt. However, he holds on to this one. And Young Pyromancer starts chipping away at Brian's life total with help of this potentially growing army of elementals. What is this? Clothis? Something like that? Let me know what the pronunciation or even the spelling on that one. It's like begins with a K. I do alphabetize the card somewhat frequently. This will actually allow Brian some more breathing room as it can gain life each turn. Can also ramp him a little bit, which could be useful. For example, getting Euro out potentially even the same turn that you cast him. So cast and escape in the same turn could be possible with this type of extra mana boost, when coupled with the extra land drop that Euro gives. That is the main reason to be looking for a mid-range strategy at this point, is going to be testing how good Euro is. And here, I mean, he could be pretty good. However, 4 tokens, I mean, it's getting pretty wide. Bone Crusher Giant went on an adventure last turn to create a token and push through 2 damage, and Brian's life total is getting precarious. Euro helps a little bit. Lightning Bolt doesn't feel great, but I think we're probably pretty close to lethal here. This Bone Crusher Giant looks like it is going to be joining the party. So even with let's see here, let me see if I can do some quick math. Yeah, I think even escaping Euro, I think Brian will be dead here. I don't think Josh even has to worry about it. So this Bone Crusher Giant resolving. I think Brian would actually be able to block and take like exact lethal, it looks like to me. So going up to, I believe, 7. And the god does not have enough devotion, so it's just Euro looking to block. And I think, yeah, Brian's scooping it up. So Josh taking that one down. Rug does have some tools here, though, to drag this game out. Young Pyromancer, a major problem. I mean, compare that to just taking 3 damage a turn. That is actually, as it turns out, the much better threat in this matchup, as you're going to get kind of dragged out across multiple turns, and Young Pyromancer gets better with each additional turn, whereas Delver just stays flat. He's really good at doing like 21 damage, maybe 15 to 18 damage on his own. A little bit of burn, kind of help him out. That's all great, but Young Pyromancer just gets better and better as you continue to get more and more bodies and just push through even more damage each turn, making it harder for your opponent to stabilize and eventually make a comeback. You really want to put the pressure on with Delver and close things out. Yeah, Blue-Red Delver has been, I think, a really interesting choice for quite some time. There are some people that play it for lack of a variety of dual lands. I mean, that is definitely an argument in the past. I think at this point, Legacy has a price point where people who are able to play very often are going to be able to play the type of deck that they want eventually. So when you're starting out, if you're able to really set aside a significant amount of money and pick up your duels, you are going to need to make a choice. Are you starting with Underground Seas or Volcanic Islands or non-blue duels or whatever it is? I think we're kind of back to where we were in the early days of Magic, where, I mean, at least for me, talking about like getting power in Vintage, you weren't able to just get it all in one fell swoop. There was certainly a period in time where you could just be buying Legacy decks just straight up. I mean, that's still the case, to be fair. There are a bunch of decks that you can just buy straight up. They're just, most of the purchases that I'm seeing at this point are things that are a little bit more, they're measured in hundreds of dollars, not thousands of dollars. So something like a Reanimator or like Mono Black Reanimator, Burn, Death and Taxes, that type of stuff. That's still very much Turbo Depths, the Rainbow build. Those absolutely are still the type of deck that a professional can jump in and buy a deck in one fell swoop. A deck running 8 blue duels, maybe not so much. Maybe that is not going to be as commonly purchased in one go. And it looks like a Reb getting dazed as this Delver of Secrets manages to stick around. The spellbook, Chandra's spellbook counterspell, stopped from a spell that was in the original Jace versus Chandra. However, Lightning Bolt shows up and does in fact KO that Delver. And I would argue the longer this goes, the better it's going to be for Brian, with the possible exception of just how awry things can go with that young Pyromancer. But Euro just has a tremendous amount of inevitability, and there's really not a great way to interact with him aside from just kind of tempo. Sure, like you can daze a Euro and potentially win before he gets cast the second time, or escaped, I should say. But overall, if they get to the point where they are casting him and escaping him, you're kind of at a disadvantage no matter what. It's only measurable in tempo is the only type of advantage you might have, because like actual card advantage, card for card, Euro's putting you in a terrible spot no matter what. And he draws cards on top of it, so he widens the gap once he shows up and starts doing his job. So that is really the card here. To the point where, I mean, I gotta wonder if it would even be insane to bring in Surgical Extraction in a match like this. I'm not sure what this Rug mid-range deck is even going to seek to do without Euro. I mean, I don't know how you're going to be stabilizing. He's like your mechanism for stabilizing and your actual win condition. Delver of Secrets quickly meets a Lightning Bolt, but Brian's stuck on 2 lands. That is not going to do when you're playing the mid-range deck. He's got a Brainstorm. And in this situation, Brian feels comfortable throwing a Pyroblast at it and sacking his Fiery Islet. He's got a Brainstorm of his own. And now a Delver of Secrets that is ready to flip. Another Brainstorm for Brian. This one does resolve. I've seen a lot of games go sideways after sequences like that. When you use a counterspell on your opponent's Brainstorm and they end up having another one. A lot of time those games start to get out of control. Those counters can be absolutely essential for handling the actual threats. Now Delver is going to flip. That was set up by Brainstorm. Josh taking a look at his graveyard. And 3's going to come across in the air. I believe he was counting cards for Tarmogoyf there. I don't think he's got any type of shenanigans with his graveyard. And Goyf be a big boy here prior to damage. Thought Scour. Draws a card. Puts a couple more into the bin, potentially helping the Goyf out in his quest for gains. A Force of Will stops a Lightning Bolt on Delver. And Sylvan Library. Well, that feels like a pre-combat card. Just in case it gets countered, it is an enchantment. And it looks like a Lightning Bolt and Pyroblast backup. Josh taking this one down with the extra reach of Bolt before Sylvan can do its job and draw any cards, as Blue-Red Delver proves to be too fast for this mid-range build. That is all for this one, but don't worry, there is a lot more. You can check out our older videos, and we're always putting out new videos from ELD's Time Vault games in Bellingham, Massachusetts. If you want to help the channel, of course, you can like, subscribe, share, tap that notification bell so you can know the next time our new videos come out. Thanks for watching.